All right, there we go. Welcome back, everybody, to Coffee and Art in the Morning. I did a quick little, well, an hour. That's quick for me. I did an hour long studio update. What's going on? Some happy mail. Thank you again, Janet, for the newsletter. If y'all did not watch the studio update, I'm telling you, some giggles in that one. Okay, so I wanted to not break this up. I wanted to have plenty of time, at least an hour, to color this, and I am using the Zig Kuretake watercolor markers, not water-based, watercolor markers that Eileen gifted me. So we're going to try to do maybe this page. We'll see how much time we have in this one. And I may or may not do some with the watercolor marker and some color pencil edition. We'll see how it goes. I've not tried to use the watercolor markers on a full-on page. So I just made a copy on Bristol board. This is Strathmore Bristol for us to practice on out of the Look Fashion Book by Suwa. So we put it on Bristol because most, as you know, most color book pages are pretty thin. And if you get them too wet or too, like Copic markers, for example, alcohol-based markers, are going to soak through. The sock monkey should dance across the desk. Oh, that would be nice, Bam. But I don't edit the videos. I just upload them directly. I don't edit them. What you see on these videos, guys, if you're watching the recording here from our live show, they're just it is what it is. You see what it is. This is a live show. Okay, so I'm going to try a couple different things. I'm going to try to do some blending on the actual piece and then some blending on a tray here, which you can use your acrylic block, your craft mat, anything non-porous, to do the blending. I picked this because I think you'll be able to see the marker colors the best on white. So we'll see how this goes. So let's make sure we're focused in, guys. Hopefully, pretty well. And if y'all have any questions, put them in caps. Oh, okay. I guess that means he's all right, Carrie. I didn't see all the details on Twitter yesterday, just that he was there. All right, so this I think I had colored this one for Paula with a purple jacket. I think I did a purple like a pea coat. I think they're normally like navy blue, black, and I think I did hers in purple. But I want to do some different colors. Maybe we'll do, and I think I did purple hair. Maybe we'll do pink hair, or we'll do purple hair and a pink jacket. Oh wait, Eileen doesn't like pink. I'm going to send it to Eileen. I don't want it to be a lot of pink. Would it bother you if she had pink hair, Eileen? Because this girl in Tokyo's hip. So I don't know if Eileen would be bothered by pink hair. Um, or you pick, Eileen, you pick colors. Like to go there to see all the. Yeah, CB said he just likes to go to the hospital, see all the nurses. Oh my gosh. And by the way, Sharon, I know you have, I don't know, I don't like to say people's health problems on a recording. I mean, you're free to say whatever you want in chat, but, wishing you well too, Sharon. So, no problem. Okay, do you have a particular color you'd like her coat? I'm just thinking pink and purple would be good, or pink hair and green. Pink and green, that would be good. I know Eileen's color, Jean's colors are green. So let's just see here. I'm going to get 4 shades of green. We've got lots of green. We can throw a lot of green shade. And let's see about her hair being a couple shades of pink. Again, guys, if you're watching this I've not tried to color a full-on page. This is all for you. Yeah, I know, Eileen, but I know you don't care for pink or flamingos. But I think we'll do pink hair, green jacket, maybe a purple skirt, something like that. Yeah, pink and green is what we're going to go with. Okay, so first let's just go ahead and start with these little, you know what? I think I will zoom in one more. I'll just have to shuffle her up and down because I want y'all to be able to see, right? I want y'all to be able to see. So let's refocus this, guys. Let's refocus. Get my hand out of there while it focuses. Let's get it focused. Did I focus it? No, it didn't. Hang on, guys. I want it to focus pretty well. I've got to get my hand out of the way. Okay, let's see how that goes. So y'all can see. Sorry, guys. I'm just having a time getting it to focus at all. I think it's because of the white. Let me just go ahead and move the white completely out while we focus. How's that? Is that better, I think? Okay. Keeping out of mischief. Okay. Yeah, the scrunchies. Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to think of the word, the scrunchies. All right, guys. We're going to try. We're going to see how this goes. Cameras do not like white. Just saying. Okay, so we're going to do, her scrunchies are going to match her coat. Her coat has a little bit of a fur trim on it, so we'll just, or no, you know what? She probably should have purple scrunchies to match her skirt, not her coat. We'll go with purple too. So let's get a couple shades of purple. And I think this is purple too. Is that purple or? No, that's a gray. Okay. I probably only need two, really, because the scrunchies are not that big. All right. So we're going to try two things. We're going to try to do a little bit of blending with on the scrunchies on the with just the marker on the paper, and then we'll also do some on the tray right here and use the water brush. So this is just the Pentel water brush, which by the way is completely empty. So one moment, please. Put some water in the water brush. I don't want to water it down too much, right? I don't want to water it down too much. I want the colors to be as vibrant as they are. But if any, like I said, if anybody has any videos that they know of where they've really done an awesome job with these, let me know. All right, so let's go ahead and start here. I'm going to put some purple, some dark purple, and some light purple. And then I'm not going to squeeze out any water. I'm just going to use the wetness of the brush tip to see how much we can just pick up here and put on the scrunchie. So let's go ahead and just try the little bit of the dark. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of the light and kind of blend them together. Okay. All right. So now it's very light. I mean, I can see it on the camera there though. So again, it's like anything with water color that if you want to do another layer, you want it to dry. Now we'll see how fast the Bristol dries, or I'll hit it with the heat gun before you start, especially if you're doing any of this in a color book that's going to be easily soaking through. Every color book is different, so you always want to test on a back page in your color book what the mediums are going to do with whatever kind you got, because we all use different things. We use acrylic paint, we use markers, we use water markers, we use kids water markers, we use kids watercolor paints, we use professional watercolors, we use neo colors, we use color pencils, gel pens, pens. So you want to test anything you're going to use on each color book. Because every paper is different. This Bristol's really thick. It's not going to go through, okay? And it's not going to pill like a cardstock because it's a nice paper here, right? So it's not going to pill. So we're going to be good here, except for the lighting. Yes, dry between layers. So that way you can put a darker color on there and it'll build up the darkness, right? All right, so now I'm going to take the dark over here, and then I'm just kind of tapping off the excess dark purple and picking up some of the lighter. Okay, and these blend, guys. These are watercolor markers, so they blend excellent. the colors, I mean blend. So I'm just going to add just a tiny bit of dark. Oh, and the other thing too is their real brush. It's not a fibrous tip marker, it's a real brush marker. Okay, so now I'm going to take my water brush and just kind of blend in a little bit of the dark. I let it sit there a little too long. It's soaked in a little faster than I wanted it to, but it's still good. All right, so I'm just going to, and it might be best to kind of pick it up off of the tray because it's still paper, guys, and it's, you know, you want it to blend. I hope y'all can see that. I think that I'm going to have better effect if I pick it up with, and I'm not squeezing any water into the water. I'm not squeezing out any water. I'm just using the dampness of the water brush itself. And so I want to kind of tap all the little scrunchy dots. Can y'all see? Do I need to zoom in or are we good? Vicky's watching from the hospital and getting tests done. Which Vicky? Which Vicky, Carrie? Vicky S? Vicky? Oh, our Vicky? Oh, well, Vicky. Vicky. I'm not going to fuss at her. I won't fuss her I'll fuss at her in private after we're done. Or as we call her, Alligator Vicky. She's in Louisiana. Yeah, Alligator Vicky. I'm giving you the tisk Vicky if you're watching in the hospital. Okay, so now I'm going to just kind of tap a couple of the little scrunchy bits. I'm just testing, guys. I'm seeing what works best. Is it best to go direct to paper, or I'm finding, okay, here's what you can see. It's Bristol, but it's still paper, right? Okay, so here's where we did some little dots by picking it up off the thing. It's a little more subtle. Can you see when I add the little dots by picking them up? Here's how bright and vibrant the marker actually is. Just direct to paper. See how vibrant that is? There's a place for both. There's a place for both. You know, if I want more vibrant dots from the scrunchie, I can just go direct to paper. But if you don't want it that, I don't want to say harsh, but that I guess harsh is the word. If you don't want it to be, if you want it more blendy, you don't want to go direct to paper. See how it just makes the dots very stark, if you will, because they'll blend a little bit, but they're not going away. Okay, so, but you can see, and if someone's, maybe I'm just being added into that conversation with Vicky, because I hear my Twitter going off. So can you see that? All right, so let's go on this side now. And I'm going to go ahead and put down a little bit more dark here and pick it up. Again, I'm not squeezing my brush. I'm not squeezing out any water. I'm just using that, the wetness of the brush to move things around. Kind of blend a little bit. Now let me go ahead and I have a Kleenex over here where I can damp off any excess paint if I want to change color. Well, let's say I want to go from the dark to the light, I'm just kind of squeezing it off here. But if I wanted to change color, especially you want to clean it off, and a Kleenex works the best in my opinion. A Kleenex works the best for, it just pulls the paint right off. So you're the tisk, okay. So now I'm going to pick up a little bit of the lighter and just go in there and just add a little bit of the lavender. Now what I can do if I want to highlight on there, I'm thinking that we can try is after this is dry, because you can't do any color pencil on wet anything. You can't put color pencil, and I'm just talking about plain old Prismacolor or any kind of regular pencil. I'm not talking about watercolor pencils, ink tints pencils. There are techniques and tips and things you can do with watercolor pencil while your thing is wet, right? But I'm just talking about shading and blending with your regular color pencils, whatever brand that is. non-watercolor pencils. You got to make sure that this is all dry. Otherwise, it's not going to shade, it's not going to blend, it's going to probably tear into the paper. Okay? So there we go. So you can kind of see. Now, again, when this dries, I'm going to go in here with color pencil and see what kind of things we can do on top. Like, can we add a little bit of a white highlight or a lighter purple right there on top of the watercolor, like we can with acrylic paint. Acrylic paint, washes of acrylic paint give you tooth that your color pencils just love, right? Especially my Prismacolor. It just loves going on top of acrylic paint, craft paint. I'm just talking about plain old craft paint. I use Americana because it's my favorite brand. Not sponsored, just saying. I just love Americana paint. And you water it down into washes, and your pencils go really nice on top of it. It's matte paint. It's not shiny. It's not glossy. It's just matte craft paint, right? But today we're going to do everything with the Zig Kuretake. Let me show you what that looks like. Zig Clean Color Real Brush, and they're made by Kuretake, and it's watercolor. It's not just a water-based marker, it's a watercolor marker. Yeah, it's looking good. I'm liking it too, Eileen. The only thing I tested out was I tested out these little leaves over here yesterday to make sure that my Epson printer, inkjet printer, was not going to move with water, and so far, it didn't. So again, if I probably come over here and just scrub, it may move the ink. It may move my inkjet printer ink, but I'm not going to do that. I mean, just saying, if you want to test everything. Okay. Hey, Lysenia. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and go down here on her skirt and do the purple in the skirt too. Again, we can do a couple things. If we know that there's going to be a harsh like line or shadow, go ahead and you can put that in. Look how tiny the brushes are. They're tinier than the brush I'm using on the, see the brush tips? How tiny that Kuretake Zig is? And it's a real brush. It's not fiber. It's not like a marker. So I'm going to just go in here and let's just do one at a time. I'm afraid if I wait for that to set, we won't be able to move it as much. Okay, so I just want to move. And this is pretty heavy, so I can kind of just do it in the air here. All right. Now, it's not going to blend out every harsh line. Okay, it's picking up the marker, but like a harsh line's not going to go away, which that's fine because I'm in the crease. I'm in the fold of the fabric, and I want it harsh. But just saying, if you don't want a harsh line, to not blend out, then it's probably best for you to pick it up off of here. But we can blend it out. And this is my impressions of using them in any kind of real capacity for the first time. I mean, I've only done tests with them. Okay, so I'm just kind of moving that out this is the darker area. But if I want more, let me put some down here on the tray. And this is just an enamel tray. I got it at Blick. And it's in the watercolor section. It's made for watercolor, but you can get any kind of porcelain, anything. If you got a porcelain plate at home, there you go. And it cleans up just fine. This will, with water-based stuff. Neocolors, watercolors, these markers, anything water-based, you can just take a Kleenex and completely wipe it out. If it's acrylic paint now, once it's dry on there, you're going to be scraping. And if you start scraping up paint, you're probably going to cut into the enamel, right? So, just saying. All right. So I picked up some of the paint off, and I'm going to call it paint. I hate to say it's a marker because it is a marker, but it's paint in a marker. So can you see how that worked? So I can kind of blend it out. And this I would call fussy coloring. This is fussy coloring, as opposed to just doing a big old wash with something and then going back and shading. Okay, so there you go. You can see how I'm just doing I'm doing the inside folds, like right there, right here, maybe a little bit right there. Vicki says all's okay. Just, oh, glucose testing. Okay. Well, thank you, Vicki, for letting us know you're going to make it home today. Just saying. Fuzzy. No, not fuzzy coloring. Fussy coloring, Eileen. Oh my gosh. So I'm picking it up again off of here, and I'm just going to kind of blend in some of those shadows right there. You're watercoloring, right? It's just like if you're watercoloring, more so than using a marker, right? So here you can see I'm in that shadowed area without that first line. Okay, so I'm just kind of going in here in some of the shadows. And then we can go back and add more. I just wanted to test the difference between straight on and see how it's watery look. It's more watercolory looking if you just pick it up off of the palette rather than going direct to paper with the markers. And this is just my water brush. This is not the marker here. This is just the water brush. I'm just going to kind of go in there and do a little bit of shading in some of the shadowed areas. If we want to go back in there and add a little bit more, I'll just drop a little bit in there and then go back in. And this is just with one color. I'm not even using the second light color yet. Okay, so see? Again, it's probably best that you, as soon as you put the marker down, if you're not going to start blending with the lighter color, to get right in there with your marker, because it's going to sink into the paper pretty quick. And this is Bristol, so you see. Now I'm going to clean my brush off so I can have just water on the brush, and I am just going to squeeze out just a tiny bit, just to kind of blend that. So you can see it doesn't completely blend completely away. I can work it for a minute and it probably would. But the reason I can keep doing this with water is because it's on Bristol. If this is on a color book page, guys, you can't be scrubbing and scrubbing with water because it's going to pill or sink through or tear your paper. Oh, good. Yay. Welcome home, Owls. Owls just got out of the hospital this morning herself. She was here earlier posting from the hospital, and now she's home and posting from home. You girls. So there you can kind of see. And that's just with the one color. That's not even with two colors yet. Just kind of playing around with, trying to blend some here. Okay. This is one of those projects that you're going to want to do like a full-on something that you're going to want to keep, and probably or cut out or frame or something, because this is more work. It's like doing a watercolor, right? It's a little more time consuming. But again, if you're going to do all this, I know I keep repeating this point, but if you're going to be using any kind of water soluble media on a color book page, guys, this is on a copy, on a Bristol. The color book pages are mostly pretty thin and would go through. It's not going to go through on this Bristol, but if you're in the color book page and you're scrubbing and rubbing and adding water and layers, test your color book pages. Test them out. Just saying. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is go right along the seam with the lighter color. Now I can't hold this up in the air to draw a line, but I think I'll go right along the seam here with the lighter purple all the way across the bottom of the skirt to add a little bit lighter lavender to it. And I'm not done with this yet. I'm just, kind of skipping over to this now. Okay, so I just wanted to add just a little bit of the lighter purple right along the edge so I can kind of just feather that up from the edge. I want a dark edge on there because if you can barely see, there's a little stitching right there. I don't want to lose that stitching, so something like a watercolor wash like that's really nice for going over those tiny details you don't want to lose. So I'm just going to feather it, and I'm going to go ahead and start working up onto the skirt, say. And if you need it darker, just pick you up a little bit more, or pick up the marker and add a little bit. So it will feather out if you just keep working it. But again, the reason I can keep working it is because it's on Bristol. And Bristol's different than just regular cardstock, guys. Just saying, it's different. It's got a, I don't want to, how you say it, a feather proof, but it doesn't feather and bleed like your regular cardstock would. And I don't know what it is they add to it or whatever they add to. And again, let me show you, Strathmore Bristol. This is the one I'm using. It's a 9 by 12, but I cut it down to 8.5 by 11 to fit through my printer. So, you know, a lot of the pages cut off from the original 12 by 12. Hey, Sarah O. So if you're just joining us, we're using the markers, the Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers that Eileen sent me. And we're doing a color book page, and we're doing it for Eileen. Okay, so now let's keep working again. I'm going to put down some more marker in the... And this is all, oh, that's that's pink. I don't want that. Let's go over here. Let's get that purple right there. The other thing too is, and even if this dries, you can still add water to it and reconstitute it because it's watercolor, right? It's just like any kind of watercolor. If it dries, you can just wet it and get it going again. Wanted to say you gotta go camping. Stop to say, Noah wanted to say hi. Hi, Noah. Hi, Noah. Hi and bye. So what you can do is you can also blend. Like I'll do something like one of the most obvious, like a red and yellow. So there's some red, and let's get a yellow, just so you can see how it'll make a nice orange, just so you can see the blending. So I'm going to clean the purple on a Kleenex over here, just dabbing off. And so you can see, you can take the red and the yellow and see how you can make, it's just like regular watercolor, because it is real watercolor. It's just watercolor and a marker. So you can make different shades of color with blending in your tray, not just blending on the paper. If you really want a good mix like that, it's probably best to do it on the tray and layer it up on your page rather than trying to do it direct to paper. Unless you, I mean, it's awesome, it's dark, but it's going to take you more blending time. Even if you catch it when it's wet, it still sinks into the paper some, right? So you gotta have to work it a little bit more. Whereas you can also just plain pick it up and do a couple, you know, little layers with direct from the tray. And it just makes it a little more subtle and a little bit longer. You have to do a little bit more layers. Bye, Lysenia. Thanks for stopping in on your break. So I'm trying to keep the folds here darker. That's the inside of the fold where the fabric goes in and then back up. This is the going down, you know. And some will be darker than others because the fold of the fabric is going to be different in different folds. Okay, let me get a little bit more out. Now, I mean, just a couple little, I mean, I'm sure these are going to go a long way, especially if you use it like this. Now, personally, I would not take these and like, take this purple, for example, like it was a regular marker and start coloring that whole coat. That's probably not going to, that's not a good idea. Not only are you wasting a lot of pigment, it would probably almost come across as black for one because it's so pigmented. It's best, I think, you know, again, watch other people's videos. I'm sure there's lots of tips and tricks on this. It's probably best to use it off of a tray, a acrylic block, or your craft mat, right? So I'm just picking it up like that. And I'm just treating it like the watercolor that it truly is. And again, I'm not squeezing out any water into the tray off the brush. I'm just letting the water that's in the tip do the, just because it's a damp brush, you don't have to keep dipping a brush in water. Although, if you don't have a water brush, you could just use a regular paintbrush. But um, what I would do is if you got your, let's just say you're using a regular brush, a pointy one. I just grabbed this, but and you get it wet. I would, pull off any excess water off your brush before start blending so that you're not adding a lot more water to it. You just got a damp brush that will blend the watercolor. Okay. All right. So again, I'm going to add just a couple little dark areas. So you can do both things. I've got a little bit on her coat there, but it is what it is. So let me do point that out though, that the marker is not bleeding up to that. That's just where I accidentally went too high up on the jacket right there. So these are not bleeding at all, or feathering, if you will. They're not feathering just by the touch of the marker on the paper because it's Bristol. It would, depending on what kind of paper, that could feather very easily because it's water on paper, and it could feather up into areas. But in this case, it's just where I've accidentally gone beyond the line. So I want to point that out, that it is not feathering on the Bristol. It's just that I went out of line. Okay, so I'm just going to start kind of blending in that little bit of extra that I added, and then I'm going to start putting a lighter bit in here. And I probably have enough on here to start feathering, purposefully feathering. All right, so now I'm going to get the lighter lavender and put some more out here. Thanks, guys, for stopping in, being here. Hope you're working on something. So I'm going to start adding a little bit more, and I'm going to kind of squeeze off some of the excess. If it gets too dark and you don't want it dark, then wipe it off in the Kleenex, and then just start, depending on how much you want. So I'm doing the lighter lavender here. I got something right there. I might have actually, I don't know. Let's just go ahead and blend that in a little. So I'm just going to add the light color all the way on the purple skirt, and then we'll go in and again I want to test my markers, my color pencil on top of this after we get done. All right, so now I think I want I'm going to mix those two that's left so I kind of get something in between, because I want a little bit of shadow right under her coat. I hope I'm trying to stay in camera while I'm holding this up in the air. I want a little bit of shadow right under the edge of her jacket right there. And then maybe just a little bit more past those the little stitching. This is totally, up to you where you want your shadows and highlights and all that. That's one of the nice things about color books, though, is you can practice your shading, your blending, your colors. You can practice all that with on your color book pages. Like it, Eileen? And again, once this is dry, if you want even a deeper shadow, you can go in there. I just recommend waiting till things are dry, so you're not, especially everybody's may not be doing this on Bristol. You want to make sure you're not going to pill, which really just means tear into. You're not going to tear into your paper. with layers of water. So you want, it's better to let it dry. Okay, let it dry between layers if you want to add more layers. Okay, so there's a start. Might want to do more blending and or try some more shading with color pencil. You're like, yeah, I love the colors. They're awesome. The thing about these markers, guys, is it's pure pigment. It's not like the kids' Crayola markers, which I love for color books. Don't get me wrong. I would take a kid's Crayola marker and color that whole jacket in one. I would not have a problem with that. But this is pure watercolor pigment. Just keep that in mind. These are not cheap, guys. Just saying. These are not cheap kids' Crayola markers. This is watercolor paint in a tube or in a marker. Okay. Sip of coffee there. All right, let's go ahead and I'm just going to skip on over to her hair now. Oh, Sarah's posting something on flamingos. I don't think Eileen's going to link to that. All right, so I have the pink here. Let's see. Let me go ahead and get both pinks out again because I think I've kind of got some other colors in. Let's get some light pink and some dark pink because that's what we're going to do with her hair. We're going to do a couple of shades of pink. That's almost kind of a peach. Well, it's more on the pink side than the peach side. So we'll see which way we want to go with that. Now, I don't really want to go, well, maybe I will right along the edge. But I want to keep her hair kind of like subtle. But I will add a little bit of bright pink right along the edge of her scalp where that would be where it would be the darkest down there. And let's just start blending that out. And again, if you're making a copy onto Bristol board or Bristol paper, you want to test your printer ink. All right, I'm going to pick up some of the light pink and go in there. You want to, because you don't want your ink to be moving. Okay, I'm not having a problem with that so far, but I'm not scrubbing. It may seem like I'm touching it a lot, but I'm not really scrubbing it a lot. So you want to be careful, although I'm not seeing that this is moving really at all. Okay, so there's the pink. Now I'm going to squeeze out the dark pink and just pick up some of the light pink and just kind of blend that in. Picking up some of the light pink. Because I don't want to lose all the color book. I don't want to lose all the color book, what do you call it, lines. The line work from the color book page. I can go in there with, a little bit darker right along the ponytail. Because I want her to have hot pink hair. Okay, so now we can come in here. And again, this is watercolor, the Zig Markers, but you try it with your watercolor, just your regular watercolors or your Neo colors. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put out some more of the light pink here. I'm just going to kind of go back and forth from the dark to the light. And because it's the hair, I'm not so much concerned about cleaning out my brush in between because it's all going to blend together. And then if we want to go in there, which we will, after I get a base coat of watercolor down, we'll go back in and add more detail. You can see how it's kind of just making some dark and light. And then she has some coming around the front of her coat there. If you have any questions, put them in caps. I know everybody just chats along. That's part of the fun of being in the live shows. Everybody just chats. Okay. Now, because that's kind of made the purple scrunchies kind of get lost a little bit, I might go in there with a little bit more dots. See, the scrunchies are they got some little dots to them. So I might go in there and add, like I did here, a little bit more to make them stand out just a little bit. Plus might go in there with some white color pencil to bring out a little bit more of it. All right, so let's just keep going here and add some more pink colors. I'm just right over here on this little palette here. You like watching me do? Oh, thanks, Eileen. It is kind of relaxing. Yeah, if you wanted a nice, relaxing show, you could probably put it on YouTube and on the recording and turn the volume off. And yeah, mute me. And it would probably be very relaxing to watch somebody color without any sound. But you know, the dark lines in this has got almost like a grayscale feel to her hair, where the lines, the shadow that's already there, you know, makes does a lot of the work for you. See how it just gives it a dark, light and dark areas just by the line work itself. Oh, thanks, Sarah. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I swear I'm going to make some ASMR videos someday where it's, you know, sounds. The only problem is for me to talk quiet. Although, if y'all remember, when I first started streaming, this is like close to 6 years ago now. It'll be 6 years in November, according to Julie Topaz, who kept track. When I first started streaming, I had 2 viewers 6 years ago, and I'm just keep, you know, putting out some more paint there. I call it paint because that's what it is. It's watercolor paint in a marker. And you can be doing this with just watercolor too, guys. You can be doing the same thing again, but this is on Bristol. It's not on just your plain old color book pages. You got to be very careful. I said this already, but you have started the Water Society, and it is good. I don't know that I started it for. Yeah. I'll have to talk about that later, Sarah. If y'all don't know about the Wanderer Society, Carrie Smith, the one that does all those Wreck This Journal. It's just like 10 different versions of, you know, Wreck This Journal. This is not a book. There's all kinds of Explore Your World, Create Your World, all those, you know, kind of doodly type books. I've had them all, but Cam appropriated them. No, I gave them to my grandson. He's 17. But he really liked them all when he was probably about 14, 13, 14. He started, I started giving them to him, and he's done all the all those. He's done them. I think he's done them all. Well, anyway, now Carrie Smith's coming out with the Wanderer Society. I won't get into it right now, but yeah, this is going to be, and I think Sherry said Packer Dye has it too. Packer Dye, so we'll have to, you know, talk about that later. Okay. So back to the coloring book. Well, let me tell you, and Sharon Persimmon said my voice is soothing. I don't know. It puts Jean to sleep. But anyway, what I was getting at, rabbit trail. What I was getting at was when I first started streaming, I had 2 friends that I said, well, I'm going to try this. Oh, now, again, let me say, when I first started streaming 6 years ago, it's not like I had just never been online, you know, or anything like that. I mean, I'd been in chat rooms for, you know, 20 years and stuff. So it's not like I was like afraid to be online or, oh, what are people going to think about me or any of that, right? So I didn't have the fear of that or anything. But you know, it was the first time I'd ever made a video. The first time I ever made a video was on Ustream. And I know I have a loud voice. I know I've told y'all the story when I was like in 3rd or 5th grade. I think it was 3rd. It had to be 3rd grade because by 5th grade, I think it was about in 3rd grade. When the principal called me to the office and I was scared to death, I said, what did I do? I'd never been called the principal's office. I was in 3rd grade. I'm going to keep coloring on her little scrunchies here. I'm going to put some little dots because I want the fuzziness of the scrunchie to come through. So anyway, I got called the principal's office and he said, well, you know, I said, what did I do? And what it turned out to be is the microphone broke and the school play needed someone that's voice would carry. without a microphone. They picked me. Anyway, that being said, I know I've always talked loud. I've always talked loud. I'm just a loud talker. Something Kramer would probably say. Not a close talker, not a close talker, but a loud talker. So I just put some dots on there, guys, and you can see how I don't want to get rid of the dots, but I'm starting to kind of just feather out a little bit from where those dots are. Give it a little bit more shade so it distinguishes between her hair and the ponytail right there. Plus, we can add some white highlights or some lighter pink highlights with color pencil here in a little bit. So anyway, that was all it was, is they just wanted me because I had a loud voice. So I knew I had a loud voice, so the first time I was going to do a stream, I had a couple of friends there and, wanted to see how I was doing because I'd never done it before. And I overcompensated for the loud voice, and I talked. So I started talking like this. And we were making ATCs. We were making ATCs, which are artist trading cards. And we did different kinds of techniques on the artist trading cards. My friend said, Dede, speak up. It sounds like you're trying to make a porn video. So after that, I just started talking. And if people in the show would tell me I was talking loud, I just turned the volume down in the software rather than trying to talk so quiet. Because I know I have a loud voice, so yeah. So now I compensate with it by somebody in the chat will say turn down the volume. I'll just turn down the volume rather than trying to talk quiet. I'll just turn the volume down, right? Or you can turn the volume down if you're on your end too. So anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. Okay, so I'm going to add just a little bit more with the marker itself. Okay, this is dried now by now. It soaks in pretty quick. It dries pretty fast, right? So I'm just going to add a couple of streaks here and there in some of the shadow, in the darker areas. So, you can go in there with your marker or I hate calling it a marker because, I don't want people to get the idea this is like a regular marker because it's not. It's paint in a marker. So I'm just going to go in here and add some of the darker hot pink areas like that. You still have the whisper vid. I probably have it on my external hard drive because, when Ustream told us you have a month to download your videos because we're going to delete them all, because I'd had by that time, a few years on Ustream. So I probably put it on my external hard drive. So it's probably there somewhere, Julie. If that was one I saved. I probably saved it because it was my first video. But is it on Ustream? No. And I've only been uploading to YouTube for less than 2 years. So, yeah. Okay, so see how it's really harsh? I'm gonna call it that because it's like not feathered. When I say harsh, I mean just like not feathered. So some of that, though, I don't want to lose some of that darkness, but I might want to just kind of blend it out and feather it a little on the edges so her hair doesn't look like she's got just streaks in it, which maybe she does. Maybe you want it that way. So I'm just going to kind of feather out the edges where the marker ends. See, something like that. See right there where it's kind of pointy and harsh? I just want to kind of feather that out just a little bit, so that the edges are not real harsh. I got to get crack-a-lack, and I didn't want to do more than 2 hours of coloring, and we're almost at an hour already. And I'm going to break it up, and I want to try to get this one done. Well, I don't know how, say done, I don't know. Okay, there we go.